What is up, YouTube? And today we have another 7 Nights Rebirth video, and today I just wanted to share with you guys the team that I've been using that is pretty free to play friendly as long as you re-rolled for a good character such as Tio, that you can use to progress through adventure, even other stuff like power-up dungeons, infinite tower, and even the early stages of raid, and also in arena. So basically I ended up re-rolling for like 2 days, and I started pretty late. I think I only got one extra check-in, so I'm on day 2 of check-in. So I am on server 3, but I wasn't able to manage to get to rank 64 in arena, which is not the best on server 3, I think, but I haven't really been focusing on it. And also I'm on the top 50, or I guess it's the top 100 leaderboard for adventure. So basically I've been trying to speed run through the game as much as I can because I am like a day late. And I just wanted to show you guys the team that I've been using that has been working very well for me, and I think that you guys will find it very useful as well. So basically the team that I recommend is going to be the team that you see on your screen here. It's going to feature Tio, Rachel, Evan, Yui, and then you can have a +1 that really just comes down to what you have on your account. So basically the reason why we're using Tio is because he is just the best AoE farmer in the game. Definitely recommend if you didn't reroll for him, then you should pull for him on the banner because he's currently running. I actually didn't end up re-rolling for Tio because I just gave up after like 60 some re-rolls, and then I just ended up pulling for him. But Tio is amazing. You definitely want to make sure you have him. You also get Rachel and Ace for free at the start of the game, and Rachel I think is a must use no matter what, especially with Tio. And then Ace you can replace with another character if you want, if you have good upgrades. Now the two characters alongside Tio, Rachel, and I guess also Ace you want to be using are Yui and Evan. This duo is just insanely strong. My Evan isn't even at T6, so that means I don't get this extra block rate boost on his Shield of Order. But the reason why is because he has this really good barrier. He also gives everyone stun immunity. Even though this is very good for raid in adventure mode, especially in the harder stages like around chapter 10, there's a ton of stuns like everywhere. So this passive is always useful. And he's also giving everyone just a permanent defense buff, which makes him good. And this stun can come in clutch for mostly for PvP, but since he's mostly a PvE character, the stun's like okay. Now Yui is like the best healer in the game. A lot of people, swipe $1 for the top up to get Lena, and even though she does end up outscaling her later on, especially once you get dupes into her, the thing is it's so easy to dupe Yui early on, and because of that you get a lot of benefits from her abilities. The biggest one is going to be on her healing melody. You get this physical damage boost, and since we're running a team comp with Tio, who is a physical damage dealer, he's gonna get so much benefit out of the healing from her obviously, and also the physical damage boost from her. And on top of that, Rachel's also going to be able to put defense down and also put physical vulnerability. So you're just kind of stacking like physical debuffs. If you're also using Ace, you have another way to apply it. But for the most part, I think if you're running a core of Tio, Rachel, Yui, and Evan, you should be good to go. The last spot really comes down to what you have on your team. You saw in the video earlier, I was using Rook. Rook isn't even that great to use. He does give everyone block rate boost, which is great, and he gets physical resistance, but in regular PvE content, he's strong, don't get me wrong, but he's not like the best option. If you have Rook, you can use him. If you have Rudy, he's also going to be an amazing character. Worst comes to worst, you can use Ace, even though I don't recommend him as much in this setup. What I do recommend is something that can support your team, which can also be tanky. Karin is okay. I just randomly have a Karin from, doing fodder. You can also even use Lucy, who's a very good answer to some of the stages where you're dying a lot. Even something like Karin is also pretty good. Even though bleed immunity is not that great in adventure, he does have a lot of healing, so it's pretty decent as well. But there's a lot of different characters you can sub in. I think there's like another underrated one if I can find him. Lee's actually not that bad. He's like a counterattack stance that also heals him, which makes him like a damage dealer and a tank. So there's a lot of options you can use, but that 5th slot is really going to come down to what you have on your account, and you want to make sure it synergizes with like this physical playstyle. So you don't want to run like a magic damage dealer. For example, if you're using something like Daisy in this comp, who's really good in raid as well and in PvE in general, it's not going to really fit, right? Because she's boosting magic attack. You don't really want to mix and match magic attack and physical attack users. You just really want to commit, especially in the early game, because resources are limited to that one playstyle. So from that free banner, if you got like Nia for example, or even Velika, you're probably not gonna want to use them because they all use magic damage and they're not benefiting from anything at all. So that 5th spot's really up to you, and it's gonna just be centered around this 4-man core. It's gonna really just propel you into the early, mid-game, and even the late-game stages. On top of that, this team is gonna be easily usable in Destroyer Gaze. You basically just run Rachel, Evan, Yui, and then you run Jupi if you don't have Shane. And if you have Shane, you run Shane. And the last spot, you can run pretty much whatever you want, doesn't really matter too much. You can even run Ace with them and it'll work. So like Ace, Evan, Rachel, Yui, all like free to play characters, and then you get Jupi if you have her, or Juppy, I don't know how to say it. And if you do have Shane, then you can use Shane, who's like insane here as well. So, you know, while you're gearing your adventure progression team, you're also going to be getting a team built up for Destroyer Gaze, which is going to be a really good raid to farm for some early game gear before you start farming the late game raids. Now, in terms of your formation, I recommend running 3 in the front, 2 in the back, even though it's not like the most standard formation. I like this one because you can protect your Tio and Rachel and have them do way more damage. And because you're running Evan and Yui anyways, they're going to be in the front because you want them to be tankier. They don't really scale with attack. And I use the 3 in the front because Rook here isn't really going to scale with attack either. So by using this formation, I basically have 3 really tanky characters in the front and 2 damage dealers in the back. You can also just switch it around a little bit, but Yui and Evan you definitely want in the front because they don't really benefit at all from attack. Because, you know, all of their, I guess Yui's healing especially doesn't benefit from attack like some other healers do. So this is the formation that, you know, I recommend running. Of course, if you're using like Ace, you can put him in the back or even in the front if you want him more to be like a tankier character. Or you can use, you know, a different type of tankier unit in the front to, you know, make your 5-man composition. Rook, like I said, is just going to be swapped out for whatever you have. Now, before I like end the video and say this is the team news, there's also a lot of things that you have to keep in mind. So your characters do need gear, obviously, right? The gear you want really comes down to, you know, the characters that you're putting it on. Basically, anything you're putting in the front, just put them on Paladin set early on. Even though it's not the most efficient, even though block set is going to be better for the most part, just putting them on Paladin set and only looking for % defense or HP will be fine. You're going to see that pretty much all of my early game, not my early game, but my tanks in the front, they're going to be on defense, HP, or block rate. And that's pretty much all you need them to be on so that they just take as little damage as possible. Now the characters in the back, pretty obviously you want them on damage. All attack percent's very good. You can even run something like the weakness hit percent is also okay. Not always going to be the best option, but you know, in the early game you're not going to be min-maxing, right? You're just going to be trying to get your team, getting your teams going. So just by having those good main stats on the good sets, it's pretty much all you need. You also want to make sure that you 6-star your characters by transcending them. Very important to do. You have to get them to this +5 by ranking them up by using fodder, and then you transcend them with your materials. Basically, in the Power Up Heroes interface, which you can get through in the hero menu, you're going to enhance your characters to +5. So, you know, whatever character you put in, you would then auto add like fodder to try to get them to +5. And then after that, you're going to want to rank them up by using these particles that you can get from the particle dungeons. That way you will be able to star them up to 6 stars, and this will make them a lot stronger. And then of course you do want to transcend your dupes you get because dupes will make them a lot stronger. Yui and Evan especially are very important to get your dupes up on. Yui is like the highest priority out of Evan. You want her at T2 ASAP, so 3 copies of her. You do get a rare character selector, so you can actually, if you don't have her, just get her from that. And then eventually you will get, you know, up to 2 dupes, which will make her a lot better in this team comp because of the extra damage. But that's mostly what you want to go for. Now in terms of enhancing skills, you don't have any of these yet, the brilliant skills to upgrade the legendary characters if you're earlier into the game, but you will get them later on, and Tio is something that you're going to want to really put it on because he is your farmer and you want him to do a lot of damage. Also, he's very good in PvP, but for your rare characters, you do want to put it into both Yui and Evan. You do get enough to put them, give it to them both, but for the most part, I'm going to say that Yui is just way more important. Evan just gives you a little bit of a bigger shield and a little bit of a more defense boost, which is nice, but you're not going to really be taking too much damage with this setup, while Yui's, you do get this extra HP when you revive, which is very important. Otherwise, you're just way too low and you can end up getting one shot. And you do even get just like more healing as well, which is going to be pretty important as well. So yeah, definitely really important to, you know, make sure your characters are maxed to the brim when you're trying to go to the hard stages, because otherwise you're just missing too many stats to actually survive and, you know, just take down the stages without, you know, not being able to do it at all and hitting a wall. But yeah, that's pretty much this video. You can use this team for pretty much almost all of Adventure until you want to swap out some characters. Like I said, that Rook spot can be swapped out for a lot of different characters. If you're struggling with 10-30, I'll show you guys the team comp that I used to kind of cheese it when I was undergeared for it, which made it very, very easy in the future. But for now, hopefully this team comp helps you guys out. I know a lot of people are kind of struggling because, there's so many different characters in this game, so it's pretty hard to like manage, what you want to put in, and it can be a headache for a lot of people. So I try to keep these videos a little bit more simple, because if I, talk about ruby farming, talk about, fodder fusing and stuff like that all in one video, I don't really think most people would understand it in one sitting. So I'll try to release a lot of videos more frequently about this game that will talk about these different topics one by one, because I do understand that it is very hard to understand completely just watching it in one setting. So yeah, pretty much it for this video though, guys. Hopefully it helped you guys out, and thank you for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video.